The Chusky Boys!
This is Chad with Hemlock! What does a Chusky Boy looks like?
Chusky Boys, what's that?
Chusky Boys, not to be confused with Husky Boys.
The Chusky Boys!
Well, I believe y'all guys are listening to the Chusky Boys.
This is William Duvall, and you are listening to the Chusky Boys.
Episode 2 of the Chusky Boys. We're here. J.R. Simpson, the big man, with the other big man, Dusty Hirsch. Episode 2. How the hell are you, buddy? Chusky.
It's been a while.
It has been a while. If we could get on some sort of routine cadence, if you could figure out the family and all that stuff, that'd be fantastic, buddy. I'm just kidding,
we
man.
got fans that need us, man.
I got bills to pay. This doesn't pay them, but I still got bills to pay.
That's why we're never doing this podcast. We got to work, pay them bills, and all of my bad beats.
We'll get into the bad beats, but hey, new episode 2. We continue to add creativity, add value to the podcast, stuff like that. So the intro, right? We got a brand new intro. We spliced together some stuff. We had Chad Smith, William Duvall, right? So let's just get into that, right? Who made the intro? How'd you get William Duvall on it? Right. And of course, Chad Smith, he was a part of episode 1. We interviewed him and he did that for us. He did us a solid. So that was awesome. So let me kick it over to your way, man. What do we know about the intro?
Well, big shout out to my buddy Steve Areno, aka Steve Luke. We're going to have him on here in a future episode sometime. But yeah, he's a super talented dude. He made it for us, kind of spliced together some stuff, and the other voices who are not Chad Smith from Hemlock, who are not William Duvall from Alice in Chains. It's his voices. He does awesome voice impersonations, if you will. But yeah, it's clear. It's super happy with it. How I got Duvall is super simple. We're not on first name basis, but I paid him through Cameo. I actually first messaged him on Cameo, and I was like, "Hey, dude, like." And he's done several cameos for me in the past, and they're super funny, super responsive. And I just straight up messaged him. I said, "Hey, dude, like, if I send you exactly what I want said, or not exactly, but if I send you what I want, would you do a cameo for me?" And he responded within like 2 seconds. He wrote, "Sure." And I sent him the cameo information, and then he actually messaged me again, like some weird way, like it didn't cost anything, and just asked a few more questions about it. And yeah, that's all there is to it. It's killer.
Yeah, that is sweet. I think it adds a lot to the podcast. So kind of jumping into the intro. So yeah, I will definitely be using that. You probably just heard it.
Any dummy can have a podcast, but how many dummies can have an intro like that?
These Chusky dummies, brah. These Chusky dummies.
What else is new with you guys? Man, I don't think the world knows, but you're a hardcore Braves fan. You gotta be pretty excited. We're filming this during Game 2 of the World Series. Pretty incredible.
It's tough. It's tough to focus on this, but you know what? I'm here. I'm dedicated to this, and it's already been a week and a half since we released an episode. So, yeah, game 1, Braves last night won 6-2, chased out the starter. I think within the first 3 innings, game started off first time in history. Game 1, first at bat, first batter, boom, Jorge Soler power. Solo home run, which set the stage pretty much for the rest of the game. But it's the World Series, man. It is edge of your seat the entire time. It's just tough to watch. I had to stand up. I had to pace sometimes. Pitchers be getting into some tough jams and those kinds of things. And in that, the Astros team is very stout. I mean, there's a reason why they're in the World Series. Now, is it because they're cheating this year? I don't know. I don't think we'll know for a couple years or not, right? So I sure hope not. And I hope it's fair game. The biggest piece of that story, though, of Game 1, the biggest story of Game 1, not them winning, that's huge as well, especially being in Houston, was Charlie Morton. Charlie Morton took a line drive off what looked like his shin, walked it off. No big deal. There was no true concerns or anything like that. And so he came back the next inning and he was pitching. And next thing you know, he got 3 other outs, I believe, including 2 strikeouts. The last one being Altuve, and had to leave the game. And it's just like, oh, okay, got hit, starting to swell up, playing through a lot of pain. Gets to the point where you just can't do it anymore. You probably start shortchanging yourself on your plant foot.
What do you throw, 16 pitches on that foot?
16, 11 of them strikes. Yep, 2 strikes, I think a ground ball. And so did x-rays. What I heard is that they did x-rays the inning after it happened in the second inning, and it was fine. It was swelling up and stuff like that. He was going to play through the pain. I mean, he's a baller. He's a gamer, right? He is a gamer. Charlie Morton is. And so those x-rays were negative, came back into the inning, or excuse me, the third inning, finished it out, or no, didn't finish it out, got rid of, or struck out Jose and left during the game after another set of x-rays were done. Twitter post, broke his fibula. His fibula and pitched on it. Listen, man. I broke my ankle. In a couple different spots. Okay. You know all I did?
You laid there.
I cried a little bit. It hurt that bad.
I would too. And
to turn around and to pitch Major League Baseball and to strike people out and to pitch well. I mean, he still had his hook. He still had his fastball. I mean, everything was still there.
Pure adrenaline with a little bit of steroids.
I don't think so, but we got to win this one for the Gipper, okay? He's our ace. Him and Max Fried are our ace, and we really need him, or we really need the rest of the team to step up. AJ Minter was in there. He pitched, covered for him for, I think, inning and a half, 2 innings possibly. He pitched, it was 43 pitches, the most he's ever done. Hopefully he's not out of gas because he is pitching lights out. Great left-hander out of the bullpen. So Max Fried is this game. Tomorrow is Thursday. No game. Then Friday, another game. And I'm sure it's going to be Ian Anderson, but then it kind of gets a little iffy. Game 4, 5, and 6, does that turn into some bullpen games? And that they've worked out for us for the most part, but it's not like, 95 when they won it all. Smoltz, Glavine, Maddox, that we're all familiar with, being all Hall of Famers, having a real stout, and then you had a fourth starter and fifth. This year or recently, when it comes to baseball, the starting pitchers do not last that long for whatever reason. I don't know if it's just the matchups or really data analytics. Every time that there's a base hit because they shifted the infield, it just chaffs my ass. I'm not even going to lie, because I would love to see the data. I know they have statisticians on the teams and those kinds of things, but every time it doesn't work like it's supposed to, it's just so frustrating.
Yeah, the pitching. I'm a Twins fan, right? And Burt Blylev, who since retired, but he was our broadcaster for years, cannot stand it when these pitchers only go 5 innings or whatever it is. I mean, but the cool thing about baseball, and my team has been out of the Twins. They're probably the worst team in the league past season rather. So I haven't been paying too much close attention to it, but I do love me some October baseball because, just like you said, you never know, man. You're not gonna, if you have a starter or two who's stud, and if you're in the World Series, your starters are studs, at least a handful of them. You're not gonna pitch them every 5 or 6 days. You're probably coming off of 3 or 4 days rest tops. Especially unless they have broken an ankle, but. Yeah, I mean, good luck to you. Hopefully, I got no skin in the game, but it's always nice to see a team that hasn't done it for a while win.
But the last night's game was the first win the Braves have had in the World Series since Game 2 of the World Series in 1999. So huge gap there. And the Braves usually put on a really good team, tons of divisions and stuff like that, but could never get to the finish line. Last year's a great example. Up 3-1 against the Dodgers, and then to pretty much give it all back. So it was really nerve-wracking to be in the same position with the Dodgers this year, but we were able to close the door on them. So that was fantastic. Some people in the California area or came from the California area and are Dodgers fans, and I did rub it in a little bit. I had to.
Well, there you go. I mean, yeah, it's what was Atlanta's overall record this season? When did we win 90 games, I think?
Close. I think it was 89.
Yeah, I was right in there. Yeah, I listen to a lot of sports talk radio all day, every day. And man, those big sports guys aren't giving the sports series too much love. Small market, no East Coast team, no West Coast team, blah, blah, blah. But I think at the end of the day, ratings will be ratings. You know what I mean?
Right.
Who cares?
Yeah, I mean, and the one kind of story of last night's game too, and there's people there's companies or whatever that judge the umpires and stuff like that, and there's 11 truly bad calls is what they're defined as, and 10 of them went against the Atlanta Braves and only 1 against the Houston Astros.
The Astros, man, the Asterix. I earlier mentioned if they're cheating one over for a couple of years, I couldn't imagine an organization taking a chance like that again after getting caught with their pants down. Multiple.
What happened? Like the manager lost their job. Alex Cora lost it for a year. Now he's managing the Boston Red Sox. Realistically, all that happened, man, was a slap on the wrist. I mean, the record books and stuff.
Suspended.
What's that?
No players got suspended from
exactly. Yeah, exactly. And so it's just Alex Cora that was suspended for a year. I mean, cheating the game. Like the Atlanta Braves' previous GM, not Frank Wren, who's the guy after him. He was doing some stuff with how he was signing some international players and stuff like that. And the dude got a lifetime ban.
That's crazy.
I'm like, crazy. I just feel like this is weird. And then the other always big thing that comes up that I think kind of hurt us last year is the tomahawk chop that they do.
Yeah.
And I know that's, anything absolutely related to racism and stuff like that is not tolerated. But is that or is that a salute to them? I don't know. But it's never an issue through the entire year. And they do it during the year, right?
Yeah.
TV stations and stuff like that are supposed to pan away from them, and go to commercial or, not show it, et cetera, et cetera. But then it's really a hot button item during the playoffs and specifically the World Series. Come on. It's not an unfair advantage. If it's a topic, it's a topic from the game one of the year, not when it's close to winning it all. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. It is ridiculous. It's a whole other conversation. We don't canceled, so let's just don't go there.
So what you're telling me is that we're moving on to the next topic?
Something I know a little bit more about than postseason baseball, because like I said, I'm a Twins fan, so I wouldn't know anything about how that works.
Not anytime recently. Bringer of rain, Mr. Josh Donaldson was tweeting quite a bit, and it looks like he is still a Braves fan.
Yeah, I think he's been a couple too many concussions for his own good. He's nuts. I mean, I like him as a player. He's a big dude. I got to see the Twins play several times this summer, and they're all big. Well, either they're big or they're tiny in MLB baseball. You been to a baseball game before?
No, the only baseball game I've seen was minor league in the St. Paul Saints.
Oh, you did? Nice.
Yeah. Back when Best Buy and traveled there quite a bit, and it was James who actually took, I think it was me and Aaron.
Nice.
Yeah. So otherwise I'd love to always talk about going to Colorado and stuff like that to see the Braves because it's a quick drive, see the Braves in Colorado. But it seems like it's always like in April, and it's always very, very, very questionable what the weather's going to be.
Yeah, I can tell you firsthand, you go there for a baseball game, you're going to sweat your ass off. It's always 155 degrees in Denver. It's crazy.
Not during April. Snowstorms. That's what I'm just saying. Seems like it's always like during the blizzard time. It's like, well, I don't want to take time off work, go down there and
I guarantee
see a ball game.
If you go there, it'll be hot. That's just how it is. I've been there in April before too. It's
Chusky boy in the heat. Chusky boys don't do well in the heat.
We don't like it at all.
Don't like it.
Week 8. So what I am good at is losing money betting on football. So let's talk about. I think we should start something. If we have a podcast every week, let's try to pick either the over under or the spread on a game. Like you can take a pick, I'll take a pick. You take a pick, I take a pick, etc. We do 3 or 4 picks and see where we're at at the end of the year.
You just want to do? Let's do that. We'll do like the hot games. None of the super mismatched games or anything like that.
Yeah. But this week we got some. The game that stands out to me is tomorrow night's game, Thursday Night Football. Packers at Arizona. 1 loss between teams through 7 weeks. Packers with a loss, getting 6.5 points.
You know why, right?
Yeah, because they've got their injury. I mean, more than likely, Devontae Adams is not playing. I would think not. And Lazard is definitely not playing because of COVID. I think their DC is also what I heard today. So, I mean, yeah, you still got Aaron Rodgers. You still got a good run game. Randall Cobb is right there.
Randall Cobb is like 38 years old.
Yeah, but dude, he can still play. I'm telling you, man.
Play the slot.
It's working. It's working for him.
But it's an away game. Devontae Adams, who's a huge player for many years now. I can see where they're giving them the points. Like I can see the sports book stuff like that. So just everybody know that what we're looking at from those sporting lines is Bet MGM. That's what we're looking at. Bet MGM is available when you're in Deadwood. We figured that was the best one that we're going to go after. So no more FanDuel, this, that, but we're going to use Bet MGM. So I agree. I think the Thursday night game is very interesting. The plot thickens with Devontae. Curious what the line would have been if they were, Devontae and Lazard was still in. But with it being 6.5 points and Aaron Rodgers just on a tear right now, the only game that Rodgers has lost was the first one.
The 3-38, I think it was against Saints.
Yeah, it was very. You just want to throw that game out just because it was very sketch. So, with that one, with the lines, for me, I don't know if I want to touch that, if I want to touch the spread at all. If anything, I'm gonna go the over at 50.5 points.
I mean, that's intriguing too. Like Packers can put up, 40 points on their own, but like I said, they're two. I don't know. Is Lazard their number 2 wideout? I assume he probably is. Devontae Adams is clearly number 1. He's one of the best in the league.
And St. Brown.
Yeah, I kind of like the Packers plus 6.5, and I kind of like the under on 50.5. If I play that game, which I probably will tomorrow, I'll tease it. I mean, then you have even money and you have a pretty low overall score. As far as we are concerned, I don't want to use that as one of mine, though. I got to beat you. At the end of the day, I got to win. But I need some surefire. That's not a surefire bet. But now, is that one of yours? Are you going to take the over? 50.
Oh, yeah. Taking the over. Arizona Cardinals, Green Bay Packers, 15.5.
All right. Cool.
Boom.
First pick of the year, week 8, not too late. Dolphins at Bills. I'm going to take the over, 49.5 points. I feel good about that. Bills high-flying offense. Well, last week I had to pick him up on my fantasy. Got me I don't remember what it was. 20 some, almost 30 points, I think. They're gonna put up some touchdowns tomorrow, or Sunday rather. I got the Dolphins at Bills over 49.5. Lock me in, sir.
Locked, sir. Locked. All right. Looking at the slate, all sorts of interesting stuff here. Oh, I see one. I'm going to go with the spread on the Tennessee Titans at Indianapolis Colts. I'm going to take the Titans +1.
That's a good one.
Titans looking good. Derrick Henry throwing. I mean, hey, Derrick Henry ain't going to be the MVP because he's a running back. He's going to start throwing some tuds, and he did.
I'm going to go game as well. I'm not going to do any more over-unders. I'm going to go game. I got Eagles at Lions. I got Lions +3.5. They're due for a win, and quite frankly, you don't know what you're going to get with those guys from week to week. Detroit, same way. I think Lions are,
Do you think they're going to win, or do you think they're going to lose by a field goal again? Like, what's the gut feeling? I know you're taking the points 3.5.
Yeah.
Do you think they're actually going to win though?
Oh, I think so. Yeah, I think that's
really. You're thinking the Eagles are a pretty shitty team, and their Lions are at home. So
yeah, I think the Lions actually won a few games here, and I think I got them here beating the Eagles, and I also have them beating my Bears on Thanksgiving. But we'll worry about that when it gets closer.
All right,
one more.
Slate. One more each, right? All right, just kind of looking, checking out Bet MGM. Oh yeah, the biggest point spread we have is the Rams versus the Texans at 14.5 points. I'm not touching that. I'm not touching that. You know what I am going to do? I'm going to take, and it's a Sunday night game. I'm going to take it's Dallas Cowboys, Minnesota Vikings. Point spread's 2 points. I'm gonna take the Dallas Cowboys. I think they're going to win. I think everybody's looking good. Lael Collins is back. I don't know if he's going to play or not, but there's a great player on the bench. Connor Williams might get benched for him. He wasn't a full participant at practice today, but Dak's going to play. I guarantee it. Dak's going to play. Because if he doesn't, I don't know who's backing him up. I don't know if it's Cooper Rush or what, but I'll change it. Strike that from the record. If Dak doesn't play, I'm out. But off the bye week, rested. You got Zeke. You got CeeDee Lamb. I don't think Michael Gallup is back yet. Maybe the following week. But even then, CeeDee Lamb, Amari Cooper, Ezekiel Elliott, Dak Prescott. I mean, that's high flying. I'd almost take the over, but I don't know. I think it might end up being such a mismatched game with the Minnesota Vikings throwing some picks and stuff like that. I don't know if they'll be able to get to 55 points. So I'm gonna take the Dallas Cowboys.
A little bit cocky there.
Yep.
You know what? Amari Cooper's due to have a big game. He hasn't done too much. Hasn't been terrible, but he hasn't done too much as of late. So, all right, mine is, I thought you'd take mine for sure. This seems like the most obvious play there is to me. I'd feel comfortable taking the over at 50.5, but I'm not. I'm going to take Tampa Bay at the Saints. I'm going to take Tampa Bay minus 5.5. That could be minus 10.5, and I'd still feel comfortable taking Tampa Bay. Could be something have to do with the ass whipping they gave my Bears a couple days ago. But listen, at the end of the day, Tampa Bay is stacked.
All right, so we'll do our shoe win, right? So you got 3 picks. Let's go through them real quick, Dusty. We'll start with you. You got your Dolphins at Bills. You're taking the over at 49.5 points. The Lions, you're giving them 3.5 points, and Tampa Bay that they'll win by 5.5 points.
My shoe win, going to do double points on those. My shoe win is definitely the Bucks at the Saints. Minus 5.5 is, I don't know. Obviously, Vegas knows much more than I do, but it seems bizarre to me.
Yeah. Time will tell, right? That's why it's bet. It's gambling, baby.
What's your lock?
I'm going to take the Titans at +1. That is the shoe in.
Let's do so we got our 3 picks, and I think we should each pick a player prop, if you will. And those aren't double points, nothing the same points as the
and these are the ones that Bet MGM just has available for us, right? It's right on the top.
Yeah.
I believe it's available in the app as well.
Yep, and this is for Thursday night game. There's some good ones in here. There's some really good ones. You want to go first, or do I get to go first? Who picked last? I think you did.
No, it was you. You picked the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, man. So you go ahead and pick a prop.
I'm gonna pick a prop. I'm gonna do. I'm looking at the Aaron Jones to score at least 1 touchdown and the Packers to win. I'm definitely not looking at Aaron Rodgers to throw 350 plus yards with all of his receivers out. Kyler Murray to throw 4+ touchdowns. That's so hot. I mean, man, that's a big deal. I'm going to do Packers win and both teams score 20 or more points. I'm gonna lock in for that.
What's that line at currently? What do they got it listed as?
Plus 425.
Plus 425. Ooh, that's kind of
make me some money. So if you bet $100 for people who don't know this, if you bet whenever it says like plus 425, that means if you bet $100, you will win $425 plus the $100 bet that you made.
The reverse of that would be you put a $100 bet and the line was negative 400. You'd only win $40.
Exactly. So
learning, you're getting your learn on. That's what we do here.
The more unlikely you are to win, the higher that plus number will be. For example, DeAndre Hopkins to record 125 plus receiving yards. So if you pick that prop, DeAndre Hopkins, D-Hop, he gets 124 receiving yards. You bet $100, you're at $100. If he gets 126 receiving yards, you have your $100 bet you get back plus the $550. So you win a total of $650 if you figure you're going to lose $100. Whenever you make a bet like that, you have to figure you're going to lose the $100 because you're probably not going to win. So if you do, you get that $100 back plus the $550. So it's pretty awesome.
Gambling, baby. That's what gambling is. That's what these Chusky Boy dudes. You know what I'm saying?
You can make that into a parlay bet, right? So parlay is 2 bets or 2 tickets or more on ones. You have to win all or lose. And of course, you can push sometimes, but I don't want to confuse too many people. So here, let's do Packers to win and both teams to score 20 plus points. The guy did. That's plus 425. You also take the Aaron Jones to score 1 touchdown and the Packers to win plus 250. So that's plus 625. You bet $100. You need the $100 back and plus the $625. Of course, you don't have to bet $100. I very rarely bet that much on one bet. And that's all my bets for the week combined if I'm spending money. But that's a pretty big day. And it seems easier. I mean, shit, that's got to be easy. It's not. If it was, they wouldn't have this bet because Vegas won't lose money. Right. They're not going to do stuff to make them lose money. You'll never beat Vegas. You might get lucky every other weekend, like I do. Every third weekend, I probably make a couple $100. Guess what? It usually goes away. Especially if you have a couple cocktails while you're doing the betting.
Bet responsibly. Always bet responsibly. Be willing to what you bet that you're willing to lose. If you total all the bets you have up, be sure you're willing to lose all that money because it could happen, and it has happened.
Well, you said you had your ankle broken earlier in the podcast. What happened?
I was ice skating.
I thought maybe it was a bad beat or two. Gotcha.
No, no bookie
I didn't want to
here.
ask you. I seen you hobbling around a broken ankle for 6 months. I figured
No.
once football season, I run into a bad bookie.
No. Because then I'd have to work, right? To break my ankle. Like, how am I supposed to go to work? Pay the debt back, right? BetMGM does some pretty cool stuff with easy parlays and those kinds of things where you can put some of those together, and there's always player props, stuff like that. But to go back to what my prop is,
Yep, do it.
Tomorrow's game is going to be a specific. Packers going to win. They're going to win by 1 to 6 points. I think it's going to be a very close game. I do think the Packers are going to pull it out. I do kind of feel like it's going to fall down to Mason Crosby, which could be a fantastic thing or an awful thing. A couple weeks ago, he had a pretty rough game. I think he missed 3 or 4 points, 3 or 4 field goals. Excuse me. So that's also at plus 425. So that's the other one. That's the one I'm going to take for a player prop or a game prop. Packers win between 1 to 6 points.
That's definitely probably this one out there. And for Packers to win by 1 to 6 points, I know they're the underdogs for obvious reasons, COVID, but plus 25, man, that's worth putting some serious money down on that. 1 to 6 points, like so many close games out there, especially 2 juggernaut like teams.
Right. Another one I'd look at if you're to dig into that particular Thursday night game, I don't have the lines in front of me, would be any sort of receiving props and stuff like that for Robert Tonyan or Randall Cobb. I think they're going to be huge parts of the game. Aaron Jones, is always kind of involved too. That can be hit or miss if it's going to be receiving or if you could do total yards between receiving and rushing. I think that'd be huge too. So, and this is pretty new. And it was over a short week. JJ Watt's out. He's not playing tomorrow night. So that defensive line of theirs is going to be somewhat impacted, the Cardinals.
What the hell happened to JJ?
I don't know. All I know I saw is it was a tweet that I saw that JJ Watt was going to be out.
Well, interesting. I'd never heard that. So there you go, folks. And stuff. By the time people hear this, of course, the game will probably already be played and it's old news. But there you go. You heard it here first. Chusky Boys.
Chusky Boys.
So, Jay, you get to talk about your team just a little bit at the Vikings. So actually, no, something like game. Look at the rather. Great place to watch the game, by the way. Vikings fans are rad. I mean, quite frankly, if you're a team and you're a fan, you'll never get harassed by Vikings fans. They're pretty good people. Don't tell them I said that, though. Well, I'm serious. You go to a game like in Denver or I've been to LA. I mean, dude, there's brawls, fights. I mean, they're on fisticuffs during the game, before the game, after the game. It's crazy. So the Niners at Chicago. We'll see. I mean, they're getting a couple of points because they're at home or missing a couple of points. It should be like +7 probably. But I guess we'll see how it turns out. We're down a lot of players too. Robert Quinn and Khalil Mack, both of our edge rushers who were like the top 5 in sacks this season, are out. We're missing a lot of pieces to that terrible puzzle. Terrible, ugly puzzle. We're missing quite a few pieces. The only good thing is, and I'll never be happy if someone's got COVID or someone gets hurt or someone's sick, but Coach Nagy is out. He has COVID, so he's not sick, which thank God, but he'll still be coaching from far, which is a secret. He won't tell people. I assume he's at his home, but he won't tell people for some reason where he's at, which has been all over Chicago sports radio today. But I think that'll actually help us probably because he probably won't be calling plays. Coach Bill Lazor, our OC, will be calling plays. So, at the end of the day, I hope the Bears win, of course. But if we lose 12 games this year, it'll just get us a little bit better pick for next year.
Yeah, I don't know. With the Bears, the Niners look awful too, man. I know the game that was there was tons of wind and those kinds of things, but Jimmy G just looks awful. But I've never been a 49ers fan. There's huge, back and forth with the Dallas Cowboys, not recently, but years past. It'd be tough for me. I would probably take the Bears in this. I would take the points for sure. It looks like it's going to be based off the line, 39.5 points, a low scoring affair. I probably like the Chicago Bears. I think the Niners are just that bad, and then they'll be back at Soldier Field. So I know that's not what we're putting on paper or anything like that. We'll put that as the as you're of course a huge Chicago Bears fan. All sorts of memorabilia. Let's
take them.
Boom. That's betting, baby. That's gambling.
We got coming up next week. We got the NFL trade deadline coming up already. I don't know if they push that back a week because of the extra NFL week, or if it's the same week. I don't remember.
November 2nd. November 2nd is it?
Would it normally be week between 8 and 9 because they added the extra game this year, of course.
I don't know.
Yeah. Anyways, next week we'll talk about that. I know the Bears, as a Bears fan, they're talking about shipping or shopping Allen Robinson, shipping him out of town. Cowboys got anything going on? Are they buyers or? I mean, they can't be sellers. Like,
No, they're definitely not sellers. The one thing that they might look at that rumor mill, right? Who knows what happens or not? Jerry Jones is usually not too terribly active either. Is Michael Gallup? You know, he's this is his last year trying to retain him. He's a good receiver. CeeDee Lamb and Amari Cooper is pretty expensive, so if they might be able to trade him and get something for him. I don't really foresee that happen. I hear that as more talk, but I don't think we'll re-sign him, which is kind of a bummer. But that's the way it goes. You don't really have 3 top flight, and maybe he's not a top flight receiver. I think it's safe to say. I think we can agree. Amari Cooper and CeeDee Lamb are top flight receivers. I don't think Michael Gallup's quite there yet, but he's going to look for some pretty hefty money because he's a damn good receiver. Otherwise, I don't see much. Offensive line's looking pretty good. Tyron Smith is not injured right now. Like I said, La'el Collins is back. So that gives us a little depth there, which is good.
Yeah, absolutely. November 1st, remember we got Hemlock in town. Pretty excited for those guys. They're already a third of the way through their tour, and they were in Montana, in Idaho. They're going to be back in Montana again. And we should ask Chad that. Like, how do you guys make your schedule? I mean, it's got to be difficult. Like, I don't even want to go there.
It's promoters and stuff like that. So here's the thing. I think Chad comes back on. Let's see if he can't jump on after the tour is all wrapped up. Maybe twice, right? He was great to talk to. Tons of questions I have for him. Maybe when he's here, we kind of visit with him a little bit, check in with him mid-tour, see how everything's going. Of course, Rapid City, South Dakota. And then maybe afterwards as well, kind of talk about how'd you put that tour together, what add-ons happened, because he's already added a couple shows. Casper, they sold out. So they're going back there. And I believe they're looking at adding another one. But I think, really like the early years, we talked about kind of, Hemlock, stuff like that. But how did him and his brother, create the band and those kinds of things? It might be something interesting that people would want to hear, of course. So Hemlock World. Tons of cool merch, man. I'm going to have to bring some cash. I'm going to bring some fat bills so I can buy some merchandise in that Chusky size like you talked about.
They got some good stuff, that's for sure. They got awesome stuff.
And it's all designed by him, which is pretty cool, dude. Not like a company or something like that to make his logo.
Oh, yeah. He hand draws all that stuff that he does. It's fantastic.
Oh, it's Chusky Boys. We can't hand draw. We can't do any of that stuff. So we did have to reach out to somebody. But luckily, you got friends who are awesome. So once again, I think let's do a couple shout outs just because of helping us with the podcast. Logo. Who did our logo for us, Mr. Hirsch?
At Sketchy Goat on Instagram, Facebook, sketchygoat.com. Check her stuff out. Incredible stuff. She's gotten shout outs from Jerry Cantrell. They even bought a design from her. Nancy Wilson from Heart. And they also got a shout out from the Chusky Boys.
Chusky! And our intro music again, who was it? And is he doing work and stuff like that, or is that just
He does do side work. He's got a full-time gig now. He used to be a musician in an awesome local metal band. He'll be on telling us about that. But he does do side work, and I'll let him kind of talk about that when he's on, because I don't know the name or how to get a hold of how he wants people to get a hold of him if they have stuff. He's done commercials and all kinds of cool stuff, sound bites and all kinds of sweet stuff.
Yeah. Impressive work. We're, of course, absolutely happy with it and how he spliced everything together. So right on, man. I think episode 2 is in the books. Look out for episode 3 shortly after the trade deadline, which happens Tuesday, November 2nd, 2 p.m. Mountain Standard Time for us. But otherwise, Dusty, hey, keep it Chusky, brother. You know what I always say, right?
Well, what's that?
If you ain't husky and you ain't chubby,
what the hell are you?
You Chusky.
Chusky.
We'll talk to everybody soon. Have a great rest of your night.
Peace.